Welcome and thank you for joining us for this Local Decision 2015 Candidate Spotlight. I'm sitting down with Dave Roeser from the Lino Lake City Council, and you're running for re-election this year. Dave, thanks for coming in, first of all, tonight. I'm glad to have you here. And let's just start with, why did you decide to run for re-election?
Well, Ben, first of all, thanks for having me tonight. I decided to run for re-election because there were a lot of different things that I wanted to continue to get done. I've been on the council for 6 years now. I think I've been learning an awful lot about how government works and how to get some things done. I'm a businessman by trade, and so I look at problem solving in a pretty creative, different way. And I'm now just kind of getting my stride. So I've got a whole laundry list of things that I would like to get done. One of them is particularly a park, 72 acres of land that we have that has never been developed. It's going to take a very creative way to put the financing together to get this done, because the voters have told us that they really don't want to pay for the park, but there's so many other ways that we can get this done. And then recently the city was donated some land on Rice Lake. It's not much of it to look at, but I'm trying to energize some people to look at this and to come up with a way that it would make it so that the residents could use it, maybe for kayak launching or fishing or something like that. So you have these opportunities, and so there's so many of those that I see that are still available to the city. We've got a lot of great things going for us, and so now being able to hit some of these things down the road here is what I really like to really want to do. Another thing that is very important to me too is seeing to the full process here of our new public safety department, and just how that's transitioning. And I've been spending a lot of time with that. A couple Saturdays ago, Dale Stays, myself, went to the fire training over in Oakdale. Really wanted to see the top-notch type of training that we were in, and really a real tactical change, real updated change to how we're going. And I really don't want that to go backwards. I think it's very important that it goes forward into the way that it's being designed right now. And so I want to be there to be that champion to make sure it continues in the right direction.
Well, I'm going to pick up where you dropped off there and talking about public safety, because that's kind of become one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue in this election. And specifically, why did you support Lino Lake's leaving the Centennial Fire District and the creation of your new public safety model?
Well, what's really interesting about the whole thing is that there's all these kind of called Monday morning quarterback type of thing, people who think that they have all of the knowledge and everything. Well, I've been to all those meetings. I'm on the fire steering committee. So if you want to take responsibility, I'm responsible for that. I've sat through all of those meetings for what is going on and what we need to do. What I really saw was that we had certain needs in Lino Lakes that were outgrowing what was going on in the CFD. And so what we saw is that we needed to make a change. We needed to put a fire station on the south side of town. That's where all the growth was, terrible response times and things like that. So we needed to put that there. But with the obvious is that we had a 1/3 vote and we had 70% of the cost. And for us to build a multi-million-dollar facility and then hand it over so that to this steering committee where we didn't have where we only had a 1/3 vote on it, just really didn't make sense. Sometimes I get criticized. People will say, well, he's trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, okay? Well, wait a couple years and you'll find that problem does surface. I do connect the dots pretty quickly from a lot of years of business. I do see a chain of events, and I saw at least 5 different things that were coming down the pike in the next couple of years that were going to be unfavorably resolved for the citizens of Lino Lakes. And so at that point in time, we just had to make a move to do something. Now, what we did is we did propose a challenge, a change to the governance, and said we'll stay here, but we don't even want all the control. We just want that every city can have a veto power to not be dragged into a direction they don't want to go. And the other cities at the steering committee meeting, they did approve that, but when they went on their own, had their own meetings, they did not go forward with that. And so really it was voted down, and that was really the thing. We said, this is as far as we can go, otherwise we're gonna have to leave. Let's see if we can make this so we don't have to leave. But the other cities voted, so we had to leave. So that's why I'm really excited about seeing what's going on here with just the real change, what we've got in the public safety department. This measured response. You know, right now what we do is if somebody calls 911, we send a police car, an ambulance, and a fire truck. And it may be sometimes it's somebody gets up in the middle of the night and they think they have a medical emergency. What we've done is we really have burned out a lot of our firefighters. And this is a very habitual, it's happening in a lot of these volunteer fire departments all over. So it is a problem that needs fixing. And when you talk to the fire professionals that are out there, they understand that this needs to get fixed. And so this is this newer model, measured response, cross-training all of our people. It's had wonderful results in other areas, and I believe it's going to be is really great for the residents of Lino Lakes.
To finish up on public safety, one other quick question. Do you think this new model will make your citizens just as safe as they were before, or even safer, or not as safe? Which way do you think this new model will do for your citizens?
Well, definitely safer. You know, what we're doing is most of our police officers are now trained firefighters as well. So what they're doing is they're showing up at the scene with an SUV that has some medical equipment. They've been trained to what to do. Now, they may not be fighting that fire because it will be somebody who's off duty that's coming in, that's being brought in. But what they're going to do is you now have a trained eye at that scene. So whatever the emergency is, a fire or an accident out on 35E or whatever, you're going to have somebody who's very knowledgeable and is going to be able to call it in and say, you know, this is something I can put out with my fire extinguisher, or this is something, call the next 3 cities around and get all that stuff here. You know, one of the new things that they're doing too is this a positive attack on homes for fires. And what they do is briefly is that there's somebody on the outside, goes around with a heat sensor, finds out where the fire is in that building, and then they're positioned over there. The firefighters, when you have a small group like what happens in the volunteer departments, they will be at the front door. They will use fans, and they'll break down the door, push the fans, and actually push the fire, and the person on the outside breaks the window. And so the fire then goes out through the window, so it's not in on the firefighters. And this has been tested by UL Labs to be a much more safer way to fight fires and things like that. So when you say about safer, I think we've run the studies, we've done the math, we've seen the UL approval on different things. Everything that we're doing seems to be, it's going to be safer, faster response time, and much better for not only the residents, but I think it's going to be a better life too for all of the volunteers and part-time firefighters that we have.
Let's talk about the budget. The preliminary levy that the council passed in September calls for a 5.34% levy increase. And then this is the second year in a row of a more than 5% levy increase. Why did you think that now was the right time, and why did you support that levy increase?
Well, the thing about the budget is, you know, a lot of city councils work on the budget, you know, for a short period of time during the year. Basically, my background is a lot of business and finance, and so I always look at this budget all the time. So all year round, we're always looking at the budget, and so we're trying to see what we can do that makes sense. Now, this year we did have an increase. We did also have more homes. We had more industry built, so we actually have a little higher tax base that happened there. Also, we had some voter-approved levies. We had street construction. We finally, you know, the city council has been kind of handcuffed and hasn't been able to get some of those things done in the past, and we found a way to kind of put those together and get those passed. Well, when you get those passed, then you have the expense of the bonding and all that. So probably about half of that is voter-approved levies that are out there. So that's why I felt comfortable in voting for that. We're also, when I came on, at the end of 2009, and that budget since 2008 to the 2016 budget, we are actually a couple $100,000 less than the 2008. So we've lowered things and have kept it low all this time. But when you have this much growth that we have, Lino Lake stands to gain about 5,000 residents in the next 5 years. We have to start planning for that and put some of that infrastructure in today. Maybe we don't have that taxable base yet, but we have to start putting some of that in today, and that's some of that cost.
Talking about roads, because you mentioned that, what steps have you taken as a council member, and would you continue to take to make sure that roads are repaired and updated when they need to be in Lino Lakes?
Well, that's one of those things that people always talk about roads. And it's one of the biggest things that government does. We all share the cost of our roads. Everybody agrees with it pretty much. And there's always this thing that people say, oh, well, we don't have the road budget, we don't have this, we don't have that. And nothing could be further from the truth. If you actually go on the website, and you can find out that we have this program of every road gets its day, is how it is, and they're continually evaluated, and they move along, and they get repaired when they need it. The issue we've had has been with the way the charter has been written. It was finding a way to be doing road reconstruction. Those where you had to take the whole base out all the way down, and it was something that was not going to be assessed to the local homeowners. But in those cases, you're talking millions of dollars a mile versus just a mill and overlay, which is just maybe $250,000 a mile. So that's where that difference is. And so we found a way to do it. So maybe that made this budget go up a little bit. But we found a way to be able to do that. We've put more money into road repair every year since I've been on the council, so we continue to do that as well. So I think that's been real positive. Saturday, I spent time with one of the partners from WSB going over a road project, and this morning I spent about an hour going over a road project on site again with the project engineer that's there. So I do get involved personally. I'm there to make sure that there's money that's allocated to it and that we've got a great road structure.
Give me your quick 1-minute answer on development. Are there certain types of commercial or residential development that you think would be right for Lino Lakes?
Well, I think it's no secret that I'm kind of a very pro-business guy, but what I want to see is really the two 35 intersections, 35E and 35W. I want to see those further developed. Those are our core areas for commercial development. We don't want to put commercial in the middle of somewhere where it doesn't belong, but those areas are buffered, and they're great areas for. We do need some commercial development. The new McDonald's that went in has a taxable value of a little over $2 million. Well, you got to put in a lot of houses in for that, and what that means for the school district, for income, for the city, for the county are all tremendous. And so we need to be able to continue to do that along the way. The other is just smart development as far as what we're doing with homes. I think what we've got going now with the Mattamy Homes project is that we have a water issue, and our water issue is actually too much water. We'd like to sell some back to White Bear Lake. But the Mattamy Homes project is going to have about 39 acres of ponding area in that. And I mean, that's a good sized lake in Minnesota. And so that is actually going to help our entire water retention plan that we have throughout the whole city. So, you can put these things together, you can protect the environment, you can still have good sized lots and make it a really nice place for people to live. I like to see the full cycle where we have really nice businesses so that people could live here, they could have a short commute to work, get home, spend more time with their kids, maybe catch their kid at lunch at school, something like that. I think that's what I would like to see, more development in that, some real jobs here.
Our last 15 seconds, simple
Okay.
question, why should someone vote for you on Election Day?
Well, I think being modestly that I'm actually a fairly creative guy. If you ever sit in on the meetings, the work sessions, if you ever talk to the people who come in with the problems, and I come up with a lot of creativity, a lot of honesty, a lot of openness, and a lot of business savvy. And I'm loaning these talents that I have, that God gave me. I'm loaning them to the city of Lino Lakes. And at some point in time, somebody should come in after me, but right now I got a lot to give, and so that's why I want to be there to give back again to the community, and so I hope you'll reelect me on November 3rd.
Well, thank you for your time, Dave. Thanks for coming in tonight. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And I want to remind you can see any of our local decision coverage both on Channel 15 and NorthMetroTV.com. I've been your host, Ben Hale. Thank you for watching.